Okay. Chapter 6, Section 2. We are going to start solving trig equations. And that is why we learned inverses in Section 1. In order to solve a trig equation, you of course have an unknown. And in order to find that unknown, you're going to have to take the inverse. So example 1 is solving a trig equation by linear methods. So our first equation is 2 sine theta plus 1 equals 0. And we want to find what theta is between 0 and 360 degrees. So we're going to solve this just like any normal equation we do in algebra. The only trig is going to be at the end when we take the inverse. So get everything away from the sign. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. We have 2 sine theta, going to equal -1. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Sine theta is going to equal -1/2. Now, I need to find theta. In order to get theta by itself, we have to take the inverse. So theta is going to equal the inverse sine of -1/2. Using your unit circle, sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrant. We know it's going to have a reference angle of 30 degrees. So your two angles that theta equals, because we need to find all the angles between 0 and 360 degrees, is going to be 210 degrees and 330 degrees. So looking on your unit circle, find where there's a -1/2. Those are your two answers. All our rules of algebra are going to come back when we solve these equations. So you're going to see quadratics. You're going to see all these algebra rules flash back at you. And just think of sine, cosine, tangent as x's or y's or z's. Don't panic over them being a word or a function. Treat them like a variable. So example 2, we're doing the 0 factor property. So that means we're going to get this set equal to 0. So we have sine theta times tangent theta equaling sine theta. I want to make that equal 0. So I'm going to subtract sine theta from both sides. So I'm going to have sine theta, tangent theta, minus sine theta. Can't subtract those signs because this is multiplication, this is subtraction. That's going to equal 0. From here, we have a common number of signs. So I'm going to factor out a sign. So we're going to pull factoring into this. That means I'm going to have tangent theta minus 1 equals 0. So now we have our two equations. We have sine theta.
May I have your attention, please? I have a very important announcement from Ms. Stark. She needs all of the staff to leave at 12:30 for their second vaccine to the boys' side of the gym. The ones that need to report are Ms. Frost, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Matson, Mr. McLean, Ann Fetty, Michael Robinson, Ms. Sadowski, Betty Santon, Mary Snow, Kimberly Stewart, and Patricia Treadway. Those employees need to report to the gym at 12:30. Thank you.
So two equations. Sine theta is going to equal 0. Tangent theta minus 1 is also going to equal 0. So even when you guys are not here, I am interrupted in my teaching, just so you know. Sine theta equals 0, tangent theta minus 1 equals 0. So theta is going to equal the inverse sine of 0. So where is sine 0? That is at 0 degrees and 180 degrees. So those are two of your answers. And then we have this tangent theta minus 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Tangent theta is going to equal 1. Theta is going to equal the inverse tangent of 1. So where is tangent 1? That's going to be in the first quadrant and in the third quadrant, and the reference angle is going to be 45 degrees. So again, theta is going to equal 45 degrees, and it's going to equal 225 degrees. So with this problem, you have 4 answers: 0, 180, 45, and 225. That'll make that equation true. Last but not least is example 3, and this is just part 1 of these notes. I went ahead and split this so it wasn't too overwhelming all at once. So example 3 is still doing the 0 factor property. We're going to do tangent squared x plus tangent x minus 2 equals 0. And this time we're between 0 and 2 pi, so we're going to be dealing with radians. So this here, think of it as a quadratic. This is x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. You guys know how to do quadratics. So this, we're going to factor it down. I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 2, but are going to add in the middle to give me that tangent. So we're going to say tangent x minus 1 times tangent x plus 2. 2 times, if you were to FOIL this and check, tangent times tangent is tangent squared x. Then we'd have 2 tangent x minus a tangent x, which is going to just give me tangent. And then negative 1 times 2 gives me negative 2. And that's going to equal 0. So we have tangent x minus 1 equals 0. And tangent x plus 2 equals 0. Going to add 1 to both sides. Tangent x is going to equal 1. X is going to equal the inverse tangent of 1. So again, where is tangent 1? That is at 45 degrees and 225 degrees. With those radian values, x is going to equal pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. And then over here, subtracting 2 from both sides, we have tangent x equals negative 2. And then x is going to equal the inverse tangent of negative 2. For that, we're going to have to use a calculator because that is not on our unit circle. So remember, when we have tangent, since we're going between 0 and 2 pi, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we are in radians. First thing. Second tangent of negative 2 is going to give me negative 1.107. But since those are negative, we need to add pi and we need to add 2 pi. So since we're between 0 and 2 pi, you have to add that 360 degrees. And we're going to add 180 degrees as well to get the 2 answers. So we're going to add pi to that. So x is going to be about 2.03. And then x is about negative 1.107. And we're going to add 2 pi. That's going to give us our other answer. So x is going to be about 5.176. And those are your 4 answers. Pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 2.03, and 5.176. Again, we added pi and we added 2 pi to get our two answers that are on the positive side, because it had to be between 0 and 2 pi. Your homework is posted on Schoology. It's in your book. If you have any questions, let me know.